Hi there, everyone. My name is Brett Hulst. I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life at Georgia Tech. The first year experience is our plan for first year students to live on campus. We've been around since 1992, and we started in 1992 along with the class GT 1000 as a way to help retention from first to second year. Back in those days, about mid 80% range of our students from first year became a second year student. We've added a number of things, and we've increased that retention rate to 97%, which is actually higher than most schools in the country. And so we're really proud of that. And being one of the most academically rigorous schools in the country, that's a really great number. But how do we do that? So what the FE does is we make sure that our first year students are living together in traditional halls to really build community with one another. So you're sharing bathrooms, you're sharing kitchens, you're living with roommates who are also first year students so that you're going through the same similar things together. We staff the first year experience with resident assistants who are upper class students who can help with resources, with safety and security, making sure that folks are having fun, making sure that people are feeling connected to Georgia Tech. That's the whole purpose, is for people to feel socially and academically connected to Georgia Tech. And so that's what our first year RAs do. There are more RAs in the first year halls than there are in our upper class halls, so that we have a smaller ratio, about 1 to 25 students to an RA. So they get to really know their residents a little bit better. Also part of the first year experience is having a meal plan. You're required to have a meal plan if you're living with us on campus as a first year student. And that's so that you can build community and always have someone to eat with and always make sure that you're getting fed. That's really important as well. So while you're studying, that you know that you have something to eat. And so meal plan is required. Talked a little bit about building community. Our RAs do a great job of that, and we make sure that first years are living with other first year students. But we also have some other programs as well. First year leadership organizations and the living learning community are two that popped to my mind. And we'll talk about living learning communities in just a little bit more. I'll be talking about a lot of information today. I put the housing website up. All this information is on the housing website. I know I talk fast. I'm trying to slow down. But if you have information, if you need information about these specific programs, it is on our website as well. So 97% of students who apply to Georgia Tech and come to Georgia Tech end up in the first year experience. They choose it on their own. We do not require that students live on campus. We also do not guarantee that we have housing for all students who want to live on campus. However, I will say that if you make our deadlines, we have never not been able to meet the needs of first year students who are looking to live on campus. We make that a priority for our housing. We can house about 2,300 first year students in the first year experience. We house 9,000 students on campus, and we do open generally full. Last year we opened over 100% full. We use lounges and some things like that we could retrofit back into rooms. We do our very best to fit everyone in who would like to live in housing. Making our deadline is key though, and that will make sure that we can do our very best to get you into housing. If you want to live with us after your first year, we start that process at the beginning of the second semester. So normally, when we do these tours, you'd be on campus with us. We'd be having a student take you into a room to show you a room and talk a little bit about it, but we can't do that right now. So I'm going to direct you to our website later to look at, you can do a 360 room tour of a room in every single one of our residence halls so you can see what they look like. We have a couple examples on the screen right now from both East and West Campus, and go a little bit about what's in the room. So all of our rooms are in buildings that were built between the 1940s and 1960s. These are the traditional halls on campus. They've all been renovated a number of times. All of them are air conditioned. All of them have heat. All of them have cable and wired and Wi-Fi internet. So they are, all the utilities are included, everything like that. We also include furniture that stays in the room. You can add to furniture in the room, but you can't take it away. So what we have in the room are beds that can be raised and lowered. We call them being lofted, or you can bunk them. They have a bed rail as well. We give you a trash can, we give you a recycling bin, we give you a chest of drawers, we give you a wardrobe, we give you a desk chair, and blinds. So you can move the furniture around in the room pretty easily. You can set it up the way you want, and you can see some examples of that. You'll see most people have their bed raised up high. That's how most people like the beds. That's where we start them, but it's pretty easy to lower them if that's something you would prefer, or bunk them if that's something, if you'd like a little more space with you and your roommate. You can bring things to the room like refrigerators, microwaves, rugs, things like that, futon, we see lots of things come into the residence halls. More than welcome to bring those. The only things you can't bring into the room, there's a number of things you can't. It's listed on our website, but people ask often about like heating things with open heating elements. So like a toaster oven and things like that. If it glows red, when it heats up, you cannot bring that into the residence hall. Things like coffee makers are fine, but if it glows red, that is a no. Once again, check the website out. If you go to housing options on our website, there's a link to look at all the buildings. And if you click on a building, it'll give you the opportunity to look at floor plans and look at give you a room tour of each of our buildings. So check that out. In the residence halls as well, we have a number of amenities for you. Everyone has access to study spaces, kitchens, lounges, gyms, laundry, things like that. Just so you know, mail is not delivered into our residence halls. There is a central post office on campus, which is in the central part of campus in the student center. So you can't send packages to the residence halls, but you can get mail on campus. But study spaces and kitchens and lounges to hang out in, those are in every single building that you have access to. So you'll have access to those things. Gyms and laundry and print stations are located amongst groups of buildings so that you always have access to them as well with your buzz card to get into different spaces on campus that you would need. So first year community, we have, as talked about, our dedicated staff, which is the RAs, the hall directors who are our master's level professionals who live in the halls as well, who oversee the buildings. Lots of great programs inside the halls and lots of spaces to hang out together and work together. But wanted to talk a little bit about how you apply for housing and how the roommate process works and things like that, because I know a lot of folks have questions about that. To apply, once you are admitted to Georgia Tech and you have committed to Georgia Tech, and first of all, congratulations for those of you who have been admitted to Georgia Tech. It's a huge honor, and so you should be proud of yourself. But once you've committed to Georgia Tech and you have applied and sent your money in, it opens up a portal for you through the admissions website to then apply for housing. When you apply for housing and pay your deposit, which is $600 plus an $80 application fee, the $80 application fee is not refundable. The $600 is refundable up to a certain point, and that's on our website. It tells you the breakdown of how you can get the money back for your deposit if you choose to go somewhere else. Once you've done those two things, apply and pay the deposit, you are then put in priority order to select your room later this summer. We do not place students in rooms, so we don't take your preferences on rooms because you will be placing in your rooms based on your priority number on what's available on campus. So what that means is if you applied in January, you are high up on the list. The closer you apply to May 1st, you'll be lower on the list. And so rooms will start to disappear as we go through the priority list based on where people want to be. Our roommate process, we don't select roommates. We don't have a process where we will place you with roommates. Since you're self-selecting, you'll be putting yourself in rooms with other folks. You can take someone with you through the process or go with someone through the process as a roommate if you both select each other on your application. How that works is we open up, there's some questions you answer on our application about some basic questions about study habits and sleep times and some things like that. And you also have your contact information. So folks who are looking for roommates will be able to go through some of that information that you've provided or that they've provided. And if there's someone that seems interesting, you can reach out to them, chat about it. And if you want to go through the process together, you can put each other on your application. If you already know someone who's coming to Tech and you want to put them on your application and they put you on your application, that works too. The priority number for that, for selecting a room, is whoever has the highest number. So whoever applied the earliest, both roommates would be going through on that number to select a room. Not a problem at all to not have a roommate. You can put yourself in any space that's available when you select your room and then get to know your roommate that way as well. And we do a lot of work with roommates to make sure that y'all are doing some things at the beginning of the year to get to know each other and making some decisions on how the room can be used. And we know kind of the issues that pop up, late night phone calls, late night TV, studying, having friends over, things like that. And we have a roommate agreement where you can make some of those decisions before how you want to handle those so that you have some ground rules for the room. If you're in a living learning program, which we'll talk about in a second, those are in specific buildings on campus. And so the only rooms you can apply for if you've selected to be in a living learning community are in those buildings on campus. Those are part of the living learning communities are part of the first year experience as well. And so you would only be able to select those. When you apply for your room, the only rooms you'll have available to you are the rooms that are based on your gender and based on the programs you're in or not in as well. And so if you have specific questions about that, I'm happy to answer those offline. So my email, once again, is in the chat. But if you are in the living learning program and you've been accepted to the living learning program, you are guaranteed housing in that space. One last thing, move-in. I want to talk a little bit about that. This is a strange time for all of us. We move in this year on August 8th, which is a Saturday. That's a little before, more than a week before classes start. We have a week of welcome coming up this year. Because Facet, our orientation program, is a little bit different this summer. We're going to be opening up earlier to make sure that we're covering some of the social and fun events that were going to be missed this summer, so that all first year students can really get acclimated to campus, get to know each other, have some fun on campus before classes begin. We have lots of great things in the plans right now, but so August 8th is our move-in day. So we're talking about dining options here. GeorgiaTech.campusdish.com is their website, which can tell us a little bit about meal plans and things like that. Dining, if you're living with us on campus as part of the first year experience program, or anywhere on campus as a first year, if you're living with us at Georgia Tech, you will be required to have a meal plan. The meal plan, there are two options for first year students. They both cost the same. This year they were a little over $2,500. But those prices will be updated for next year soon. Check out their website. There's a weekday option, and then there's a everyday option. Those give you 4 meal swipes a day into one of the 3 dining halls on campus. Plus, the Student Center also provides meals for meal plan students in some of their restaurants as a combo that you can get inside the Student Center, which is in the central part of campus. The 4 meals a day, there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's dinner, and there's late night. So you can use combinations of those meals throughout the day. At the end of the day, I believe the meals go away for that day. So the weekday plan obviously is only Monday through Friday. The everyday plan is through all 7 days of the week. And you also included the price is the same, but there's some other monies that are attached to that: Buzz Funds and Dining Dollars. Dining Dollars can be used in any restaurant on campus, including any of the restaurants in the Student Center. So like Chick-fil-A and I'm trying to think, Panera, things like that throughout campus. Starbucks, I'm sorry, I'm lying about that. It's not Starbucks, but Chick-fil-A, there's some other ways to use those dining dollars. But then there's Buzz Funds as well, which you can use anywhere on campus. And that includes things at the bookstore. Some off-campus restaurants will take Buzz Funds as well, but laundries on Buzz Funds and things like that. There are more of those monies on the weekday plan because you're getting more meals on the everyday plan. But all that information, and if I've messed any of that up, it's all on the dining website. So check that out, georgiatech.campusdish.com. Just to let you know, with dining, they have nutritionists that work with them that you can, as a student, can set up appointments with if you have concerns about food that's offered on campus and how to plan a diet. If you're halal, if you're kosher, if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, if you have food allergies, they'll work with you to make sure that you're making the right choices in all of our dining facilities. And all the food is labeled so to make it a little bit easier to figure out what's going on campus. So the living learning communities, switching gears for you, llc.gatech.edu is their website. We have 5 that our first year students can participate in the fall. We have 1 that students can participate in the summer. So I'll start with the summer program. It's called Ignite. And Ignite is a program just to give people kind of a leg up on starting at Georgia Tech. You actually get about 6 to 7 credit hours of work ahead of you, ahead of your fellow classmates if you come in the summer. Number of tracks that are having sustainability, leadership, and things like that. All of them will be listed on their website. So check that out if you're interested in coming in summer and getting a little bit of a head start, or if you're required to start in the summer. There will be summer classes online this summer, is how I understand it's working for us this year. So look for that information on their website. I don't have a ton of information about that yet, as we're still figuring all that out. But for the fall, we have 5 programs you can see on your screen. I'll tell you a little bit about the kind of the phrase that describes each one. So, but before I do that, let me tell you, living learning communities, what they are. They're a way to build community, to build a cohort of students who are interested in some similar things. They're open to students, for the most part, from multidisciplinary. I would say, I believe that Explore is the only one that really limits who can be in that, but it's for science and math majors who are pre-health or who are interested in research in science and math fields. But the others are generally open to any discipline on campus. Georgia Tech prides itself on being able to bring folks together who are studying lots of different things to solve problems. And so these are open to any, for the most part, to any student on campus. But what Explore is it explores the science and math their interest in undergraduate research and pre-health options for them. So if you're interested in pre-health, this is a great living learning community to be in. If you're interested in math, this is a great living learning community to be in. Global leadership is a living and experiencing culture, citizenship, and leadership. And the Global Leadership LLC creates cross-cultural, savvy problem definers and problem solvers. I'm reading these off the sheet so I don't get these wrong. Impact is the living learning community that explores issues of social impact, diversity, community engagement, and sustainability. Grand Challenges is a program that teaches students how to most effectively utilize servant leadership. Grand Challenges creates change makers who seek empathy and who have an unparalleled opportunity to change the world. That's through the engineering college, and has a lot of great opportunities to work together to solve problems around the world. And they have a budget to send folks to things across the country to explore ideas and to showcase the work they're doing. Honors is our honors program fosters curiosity, creativity, and innovative capacity of highly motivated learners whose interests span multiple disciplines. So those are the 5 that are coming up. You can read so much more about them on their website, and they can tell you more about how it works. There is an application process for the living learning communities. If you come in the summer, you are automatically part of Ignite. If you're coming in the fall, there is an application process. It's the same application process for all of them, except for honors. Honors takes that application, but adds an additional essay. So you would have to fill one additional part out. But you apply to all of them together and check off which ones you're interested in. And then, because they have some limited space, some fill up faster than others. And so they have a priority deadline, I believe, mid-April, so it's coming up soon. And they will start making decisions based on who's applied by mid-April. And then what spaces are left after that, they will have a rolling admissions after that point. So you can also apply for living learning communities, even if you have not applied for housing. If you have not even accepted made your commitment to Georgia Tech, you can still apply for those for living learning communities just in case you're coming. And if you choose not to come, it will obviously open up a space for someone else. So feel free to apply those. If you have specific questions about those, I can answer a few questions about them, but I would direct you to their website as well. So our deadlines for housing. May 1st is our deadline to apply for housing. We do take applications after that. And as I've mentioned, we do our best to meet the needs of folks. If you come in after our deadline, we will put you on our wait list and fill in. You won't get to select a room. We will place you into a space that's available based as they come open. Information at housing.godtech.edu if you have specific questions about the application process. Living learning community applications are due April 15th, and which is coming up. And if you have specific questions, llc@godtech.edu is where you can direct those questions. Good luck with your decisions on where you're going to end up. And hopefully that'll be Georgia Tech in the fall. We look forward to seeing you. Enjoy the rest of your year. Stay safe, and we will see you soon. Take care.